We have relatively new 3 to 4 years. Neighbors who live behind us, I've never met the wife or even seen her. The husband is late 50s, early 60s and looks creepy. Thin long white hair, about 30 pounds overweight and always wears a retro Bulls jacket and slacks. Every single morning I go to work, he's walking his dog. Every day I get home he's doing the same. He oftentimes walks right along the property line between our houses and stares into our bay window. One day me and my brother and his 2 little kids were sitting on the front porch getting ready to walk to the park to play basketball when he walked up and started talking to them, asking weird questions and generally giving off creep-ass vibes. Me and my brother asked him a few times what his dog's name was and he seemed caught off guard and never answered us, always dodged the question and kept talking to my niece and nephew. He looks like a textbook serial killer. My mom lays in the backyard all the time in the summer tanning and she has caught him staring at her before through a gap in the bushes that separate our properties on the eastern side. Our workout room has a door to that backyard and I commonly hit my bowl a few times right outside the door, and one night I went out for a few hits and heard creepy ass whistling. It was especially creepy BC. It was raining, virtually no visibility, and it was so close. Sketchy. I slammed the door and locked it and checked the doors after that. If he's just a weird old man or if he's actually not mentally there, but the dude is so weird. Oh, and I just remembered another thing. When I'm driving past when he's walking his dog, he stares at me until I'm out of view. The entire time, every single time. I know this BC. I checked my mirrors to see if he's still staring. I moved into a room a girl around my age was renting in her apartment. Didn't know her, but she seemed cool. The creepy guy lived a few floors up and was also the complex's repairman. The guy watched me move in. Afterwards knocked on my door and asked if I needed help with anything. I actually did need help sawing off a piece of my bed frame and asked if he had a saw or anything. He was super kind and said yes and returned a few minutes later and sawed the piece off. I tried to tip him and he refused and said he was just here to help and call him if I needed anything else, and gave me his number and asked me to text him my name and apartment number in case I had any emergency issues. I got no creepy vibes. An hour later he adds me on Instagram. The only info I gave him was my first name and where I moved from. 2 days later I'm at our communal laundry room. I'm alone and the only one washing. I put my clothes into wash and set a timer for 34 minutes. My timer goes off and I go to the laundry room to put my clothes in the dryer, and he's there putting my clothes in the dryer. Mind you, I have underwear/thongs and bras in there. I immediately think I'm an AH and maybe set the timer wrong and he needed the washer, but I notice none of the others are being used and he has no laundry. I say, "Sorry, did I take too long? Are the other ones broken?" He says, "No, they're all good. My apartment is next door and I heard your wash stop and thought I'd help you out." I say thanks and tell him it's not necessary. By this time he's put all my clothes in the dryer. He shows me he has a key and tells me he can do all my laundry for free. I tell him again that's not necessary. I'm freaked out but go back downstairs and come back 10 minutes before the dryer is supposed to go off. He isn't there, so I take my clothes and try to forget about it. I asked my roommate if she knew the repairman at the complex and she answered yes and knew him by name. I asked what she thought of him and she had nothing but nice things to say. I only answered with, "Oh," and she went on the defensive of why I was asking her about him. I told her I got creepy vibes from him and she told me he wasn't creepy at all. I decided I was being too sensitive and let it go. For the next week he keeps trying to message me on Instagram and I don't answer. Then one night I hear a knock on the apartment door. I'm in my room, which is by the front door, and I can hear the conversation my roommate and the repairman have. He's making small talk with her and they are joking with each other, getting along, and then I hear him ask where I'm at. I hear her say she always just stays in her room. He answers with, "Ah, that's no fun." And they go back to chatting and he leaves. I'm creeped out again and try to keep my distance from him and avoid talking about him to my roommate until our toilet stops working one day after I get home from work. I'm the only one there, but I text him and let him know we are having issues with no flushing. He comes down immediately and he fixes it within seconds, which throws up alarms for me. I didn't even check to see if the water was turned off and I'm thinking that's what it was. He tries to linger and chat, but I tell him I need to go because I need to call my mom back. He leaves, and now I'm paranoid he came into the apartment to shut off the water to our toilet so I would call him. The next few weeks we have small run-ins. He asks why I haven't tried the hot tub yet. He comes to our apartment 2 more times to talk to my roommate, and I stay in my room. Both times he asks if I'm around. I have a ton of laundry piled up because I dread going to the laundry room, because every time I've gone to do laundry he somehow is leaving his apartment and corners me in the laundry room and talks to me until I tell him I need to leave. He continues to ask me if I want to go do activities with him, and I tell him no every single time, saying I'm busy or working. I don't want to be rude and piss off our repair guy, but he's getting so insistent I'm starting to lose my patience. By this time I've blocked him on Instagram. He slips up and comments on something I posted on my story on Instagram. I ask him how he knows about it, and he says I told him. I most certainly did not. I eventually get a boyfriend and he comes over. He offers to help me with my giant mound of dirty laundry. We go up to the laundry room and set the clothes to wash. We end up using every washer because I have so much piled up. When we are leaving he's there and asks who my BF is. I introduce them and he's insanely friendly to my BF. Afterwards my BF tells me he does not like the vibes he was giving off, and I tell him everything. He tells me that guy is a creep and I should report him to the building management, but I don't want to cause trouble. Repair guy seems to leave me alone after meeting my BF.